Our journey saving Château de Purnon sometimes feels like a roller coaster. Moments of triumph mixed with moments of despair. As the year draws to a close, join us for a week of highs and lows.
So our carpenters were to have installed the restored window in this window alcove here this week. It's probably the most difficult window for them to install at the chateau, and that's because the window alcove is traversed by the staircase. Now, they arrived on Monday, they had the restored windows with them, but try as they might, they just couldn't fit them in. And the reason why is there's been some significant deformation in the window frame itself. So they've had to take the windows away, they've had to remove the window frames, take them back to the workshop to be reworked and fully restored. And it means that we won't have light in this stairwell until next year. Life at the chateau. Well, they mightn't have had much luck with the windows, but this week our carpenters were able to install these restored doors. They provide access from the western side of the dry moat here into the basement. This is where the Marquis wine cellar was. Obviously, they didn't want to let in any more light than was absolutely necessary. And what we love about these doors are these small oval windows that would have let in just enough light to light the corridor, but not to flood the space with brightness, which would have been fatal to the Marquis wine collection.
Well, things with the restoration of the window may not have gone to plan, but here on the bridge things have absolutely gone to plan, and our stonemasons have been putting on the finishing touches. They have put an aging treatment on the new pavers that needed to be used here. As many as the old pavers as possible were reused, but there were some that were in too poor a condition, so you can see the band of new pavers. They have finished mortaring all the joints, and the next step for the bridge, of course, is going to be the return of the lions next year.
Well, it falls to me to be the bearer of the bad news this week. And the bad news here on the roof is that our roofers have had to stop again while they await the delivery of the next batch of the slate shingles for the roof. Now, remember here at Purnon, our roof requires 3 types of slate tiles. A flat tile that looks simply like that, flat exactly as you would expect, but also concave and convex tiles. And the reason why is that they need the slates to have the right bend in them as they traverse the different elements of the roof. And it's really these slates with the bend on them that are holding up the roof here. Remember, the roof here at Purnon, it is an absolute work of art. 47,000 slate shingles, each one hand cut and secured with 2 copper nails, and we can't wait for the next delivery to come so that they can finish the work on this magnificent roof. But in good news, they were able to lay all of the slates from the last delivery, and let's go and have a look at the progress that they made. This whole section of the western pavilion of the chateau roof has now been finished, and the scaffolding behind me has finally come down.
We are down here in Purnon's moat. This is the western section of the basement of the chateau facades. This was the final section of the facades that needed to be restored. And this week our stonemasons have been on fire. As you can see behind me, they are working hard to complete the restoration of this facade. So what have they done here? Well, we showed you a few weeks ago they were working on the restoration of all the stonework. That has now been completed. They then moved their attention to the restoration of the render. Remember, here at Purnon on the facades we have two types of render. On the upper floors of the chateau, the more noble floors of the chateau, we have a very fine, beautifully finished render. Down here in the moat and the basement level, the render is a more rustic render, and this is a render that is flicked on by hand, and you get this beautiful textured finish. Right now they are working on completing the grouting on the stonework, and that is their final task to do here before we can say that their work here on the restoration of Purnon's facades after 5 years will be completed. Of course, there is still the completion of the restoration of the terrace, which will happen in the first months of next year, but this week was always going to be about the creation of Purnon's library and the installation of those epic bookcases. Well, it is Monday morning and the most exciting delivery I think that we have ever received at the chateau has arrived. You can see the truck behind me from Métier de Bois. These are the carpenters who have crafted the beautiful bookcases that are going up into Purnon's library, and we could not be more excited for their installation, which is going to take our carpenters all week.
Wow.
Aren't they incredible? This is so exciting. The bookshelves that have been beautifully crafted for this room are now in place. And the thing that really strikes me now that they're here is just the level of craftsmanship and the attention to detail that's been paid in these bookcases, because every single element that is in the woodwork here is an element that we already find in this room. So the cupboards, the woodwork on the front of the cupboards is exactly the same as the wood paneling on the walls here. All the cornices and all the wood details, the skirting boards, they're all exactly the same. And it gives it this sense that this bookshelf was always in this room. But this week you have been the bearer of bad news. So what have you got for us?
Well, there's always something, and obviously with the bookcases, they're not finished yet. The carpenters still need to return to put the cornices in place at the top of the bookcases themselves.
Yes, because our electrician has just left actually, and he needed access behind the cornices to get the beautiful spotlights in.
And obviously they're missing all of their shelves. There's about 70 to 80 shelves that need to go into place. They've been painted, the shelving supports have been painted too, so they'll go in and we'll be able to put those in place after we've done the last of the painting touch-ups, because there are lots of bumps and scratches from the installation process that we need to put a little dab of paint over the top of, and there are some joints and fillings that also need to be done as well. So a few things that still need to be finished off. And we'll do that over the next few days,
Yeah.
but the cornices won't go on until they return at the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
So there we have it, the next step in the journey of these beautifully crafted bookcases. And really, it's a great time to thank all of our artisans. Today, they finished on site for the year. And we really could not save Château de Purnon without the extraordinary skills of the carpenters, the stonemasons, the roofers, the plumbers, the electricians. All of the team have been involved in this amazing project over the last 12 months. So a big thank you to all of Purnon's amazing artisans.
And also, while we're on thank yous, a huge thank you to all of you who have tuned in and joined us all this year. Thank you for your support and your encouragement along the way. It has been a huge year, and next year is going to be even bigger. The return of the lines, the commencement of new projects, and the commencement of more work on the interiors. So as always, if you would like to follow the restoration of Château de Purnon more closely, we post an exclusive weekly video for our YouTube and Patreon members, and that will return in the second week of January. We post frequent updates on all our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Otherwise, just hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and we will see you at the start of January.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.